Hello and welcome to An Old Man Watches, and today I'm going to be talking about the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, which was an adaptation of Pride and Prejudice that reimagines the story through the lens of a YouTube video blog, a very 21st century kind of way of retelling the story. And I'll start with a disclaimer. I know one of the writers who worked on this show, though, we don't even live in the same country, so we're like not hanging out on a daily basis or anything. And I don't think this has influenced my opinion of the show, but I'm mentioning it for full transparency. In any case, on with the review. Lizzie Bennet, the titular character, is a grad student who, with the help of her best friend Charlotte, creates a video blog as an assignment for her media studies degree. She conceives this vlog as a space to talk about her sisters, the angelic older sister Jane and the sometimes devilish younger sister Lydia, and also about her overbearing mother, whose primary goal in life seems to be to get her daughters married off to wealthy, eligible men. Lizzie considers her mother's obsession with matchmaking to be so much antiquated nonsense. She's thus totally disinterested in Mama Bennet's latest obsession, Bing Lee, a wealthy medical student who has rented the nearby estate of Netherfield. And Lizzie's actively hostile to the topic of Bing's best friend, the pompous and insufferable William Darcy, to whom she takes an instant, and she is certain, irreversible dislike. Yeah, like we all know how that's going to turn out, right? The LBD, as it became known by its vociferous fan base, was one of the first breakthrough web serials. Many of the episodes have over 1 million views on YouTube, and as it says on the DVD box, the show picked up an Emmy. Today, 10 years later, lead actor Ashley Clements is running an episode-by-episode retrospective of the show that is itself attracting, thousands of viewers. The show was, in other words, very well received, and I think it thoroughly deserved it. Let's talk about why the show got it so right. So look, I'm going to start by saying I absolutely do not have a word to say against the famous 1995 version of Pride and Prejudice. It is a thoroughly entertaining version of the tale with a charming cast. But it's also pretty much a direct translation of the text to the screen. The LBD, on the other hand, takes the characters and storyline of Jane Austen's famous novel and not only updates the format to the more modern structure of a video blog, but it also reviews and revises the specific events and plot points to bring them up to date as well. Where elements still make sense, they are retained. Lizzie and Darcy still come from very different social classes, for instance, and their initial poor relationship will inevitably boom into a romance that no one could have seen coming. Well, obviously no one except the entire audience, enemies to lovers, is an entire subgenre of romance stories and dates back to at least Shakespeare, after all. But where original elements don't make sense in a modern context, they are smartly reimagined into ways that do. This not only keeps the material fresh, it also makes for a more well-rounded and empathetic group of characters. Characters whose roles in Pride and Prejudice were pretty much solely to either provide comic relief or moral lessons are here reimagined as much more complete, but often still very funny, individuals. I think it's really smart work. Speaking of smart work, during its original run, the Lizzie Bennet Diaries pioneered a variety of transmedia integration. The series spawned multiple other YouTube channels that posted their own videos presenting the viewpoints of other characters, most notably Lizzie's younger sister Lydia, and all of the lead characters, plus several supporting ones, had their own social media accounts on which they posted updates that tied into events on the show. Not like go and see the latest video kind of updates, but talking about the events as if they were happening to real people. Now, some of this material has alas been lost to the passage of time. Not all the platforms on which accounts were created have survived, but you can still to this day go to Twitter and find tweets between Bing Lee and William Darcy, or look up Jane Bennet's fashion-related Pinterest page, and so on. They all have Tumblr and Twitter accounts. It's very clever stuff. Now, obviously, a lot of this material will only directly reward the passionate fan who seeks it out. But even for a more casual viewer, I think this material still provided value because the work that went into fully imagining the characters and their off-camera lives ultimately fed back into the writing and again led to more complete, rounded, fully realised characters. Of course, none of this transmedia cleverness would matter all that much if the actual videos were bad. Fortunately, they're rock solid. The LBD had a small but talented stable of writers, and yes, I include my friend in that. We actually became friends because I liked her writing. The writing team worked closely together to deliver consistent sounding characterization so that we didn't, you couldn't say, oh, this is an episode by that person because they write this character differently. The characters were written consistently. And all the actors seem very well suited to their roles and deliver excellent work. I think the casting team did an exceptional job of finding the right people for the jobs. In the end, all of the jokes consistently land, and, when it happens, the drama and romance are also convincing. The characters and situations feel authentic. There's a reason that in 2013, The Guardian called the Lizzie Bennet Diaries the best Austen adaptation around at the moment. So look, as long as you are okay with a video blog format, in which characters largely speak directly to the camera, and not everyone will be, but if you are, then the Lizzie Bennet Diaries is a skillful adaptation of a rightly loved classic, and I think it's well worth your time. And, since it's a YouTube show, it's entirely free to watch every single second of it online. You will need to set aside 7-8 hours to watch the whole thing, but, what are you doing this weekend? So yeah, that's the LBD. I think it's a really, really good piece of work. Next time, from a modern reinterpretation of a classic novel to a film that is itself considered one of the classics of cinema, 1942's Casablanca. But that's next time. Until then, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it.